Hello and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for fantasy Premier League content for the 2021-22 season. And today, guys, we are back with an 100 experts video. So I have once again this week asked 100 FPL experts, pundits, content creators of their basic plans for game week 4. What are they up to this game week? What are they using their wild card? What transfers are they making? Who are they going to be using as their captain this game week? And we're going to use this information to suggest some really nice transfers for you guys to use for your teams and try and make expert moves in a way. And also, obviously, this is in many ways the captain's video for this game week as well. We're going to talk about captains or who you should be captaining. So much stuff. This is a super interesting, useful video. I get so much information out of this video every single week, and I'm sure a lot of you guys do too. So if you do like this kind of content, make sure you leave a like, make sure you subscribe if you want it every single week. We are trying to get 100,000 subscribers. Hopefully you can help me get towards that. But guys, before we have a look at the data that I've gathered this week, let's see who got involved in the 100 experts this week. So here they are. Here are the big 100 of the week who got involved, who sent me their data, who told me their transfers, who told me their captains. These are the guys who got involved. You might recognize a few names, you might not recognize all of them, but basically all of them are really passionate FPL content creators, pundits, people who know their stuff, people who are really engaged in the game. And by looking at what all of what all of them are doing, it's really going to help us make sensible decisions and avoid the bad decisions. So we're going to talk about bad decisions first of all, as we do every week. My favorite part of the video, let's do it. But before we do that, let's just have a look at the very basics of what the 100 managers did this week. So 20% of them are using just one transfer, 36% of them are using two transfers, 16% of them are using 3 or more transfers. Now I say 3 or more transfers because one person is actually using 4 transfers. They've got 2 bank transfers. They're taking a -8 to do 4 total transfers. So basically you can see, guys, that a lot of people are using a lot of transfers this week. This is a game week of a lot of transfers. So don't be too afraid to take -8s. Well, I mean, try if you can avoid it, don't do it. But what I'm telling you guys is people are going to be taking -4s. People are going to be taking -8. Even the experts, a lot of the experts are taking -4s this week. So it's really, really important that you don't get too worried about taking -4s, especially if you're going to really improve your team by doing that. Of course, 2% are actually not making any transfers this week. They are banking them potentially to make the Ronaldo move next week. So they have that 1 bank transfer next week and 2 transfers to use next week to make that move. So that is an option as well, but you could kind of see that that's a kind of a very, very rare strategy this week for the big guys. And finally, 26%, so over a quarter, will be using their wild card this week. I'm not going to talk too much about wild card stuff because it's been done to death by other creators, and there's obviously you know, I've got my video on this channel as well coming out very, very soon about wild cards as well. So we're not going to talk about wild cards too much this week. But yeah, a lot of people are using their wild card, but not everyone. Not everyone. Still 74% are not using a wild card. So I don't know if that factors into your decision making at all, but some are making wild cards, some are not. I don't know. But here we go. My favorite part of the video. Let's do it. So here are the most popular transfers in amongst all FPL managers. So this has been taken from the FPL website. These are, as I record this video, the most popular transfers in for the game week. And we can see here some names that you might think, yeah, experts are going to like those players. But as always, there's always a lot of these names that don't line up with the expert opinion. A lot of them don't. Like, you always would think, oh, well, these are all so obvious to bring in. But some of them, no experts are going anywhere near these players. So this is not the list you should be using as for your transfer targets, but there are some similarities. So guys, let's not mess about. Obviously, Ronaldo is brought in by many of the managers that we're going to be talking about today. Ferran Torres as well, Damari Gray, Greenwood, and Lukaku. All of these guys are popular amongst the experts as well. So they're not only popular in general, but they're also popular amongst experts. Now, you might be a little bit surprised to see that Antonio and Benrahma are not popular among experts. Not a single one of our experts have brought in either Antonio or Benrahma into their team, excluding the wildcard guys. I didn't gather the exact data on the wildcard teams because I don't want to talk too much about wildcards, but I'm sure that Antonio will be in most, if not all, of those wildcard teams. But the thing is, most experts, most people who know what they're doing around FPL already have Antonio in their team. They've already picked him up. So for that reason, he's not really been a very popular transfer in this week amongst experts, because most sensible experts will already have Antonio in their team. So that's maybe a little bit of a, it throws you off a little bit, a bit of a red herring. Benrahma, I kind of understand, because I said it in my video yesterday. I wouldn't be interested in bringing Benrahma in now if I didn't already have him. So there we go. But we also have some other players who I do want to highlight. Kind of Duffy, Regulon. These are already in a lot of these expert teams already, and I don't think too many people are too interested in bringing them in now. But players like Alonso, Jansen, and Allen, who are in the top 12 most popular transfers in. Not only are these players not being brought in by any of our experts, but also they are just they're not really in many expert teams either. So these are players that I don't think really any seasoned FPL players would be interested in Alonso, Jansen, or Allen, to be honest, at this point, unless maybe on a wild card, maybe you'd consider bringing in Allen. But certainly Alonso and Jansen, they just don't seem like good transfers at all. So I did just want to highlight them as, I know they're popular amongst most people, but most people don't know what they're doing. It's sad to say, but it's kind of true. And the idea by watching these videos and doing your research and getting really involved in FPL is that we're going to beat all of those people who don't really know what they're doing. And hopefully we can help you to do that. But let's have a look at some players who are being sold by FPL experts. And number one, the big sale of the week is Danny Ings. So 72 people. I'm going to do it out of 72 this week, because basically, excluding wildcarders and excluding people who are not using any transfers this week, so out of the people who are actually using transfers, 58 of them out of 72 have transferred out Danny Ings. And it's kind of confusing, because these numbers are not going to add up, because so many people are making 2 transfers or 3 transfers that, hopefully I've butchered trying to explain that, but hopefully some of you guys will get what I'm trying to do here. But basically, out of the people who are using transfers this week, 58 out of 72 of them are transferring out Danny Ings. That is a lot. That is a hell of a lot. So you would probably expect that would be pretty much everyone who has Danny Ings is transferring out Danny Ings. That's pretty crazy, right? So if you do have Danny Ings, immediately you've got a player right there that you can just look at your team and say, okay, yeah, this is the player I'm probably going to remove from my team. Another big player that's being removed is Bruno Fernandez. Now, I've spoken about already this week that if you are looking to get another premium player in your team, if you're looking to get Ronaldo, if you're looking to get Lukaku, whatever, Bruno Fernandez is the player that you should be sacrificing, and most of our experts and pundits, they agree. They agree that Bruno Fernandez is a player that we really do want to be sacrificing. So again, more than half of those using their transfers are using their transfers to remove Bruno Fernandez from their team, which is quite wild. And the combination of removing Danny Ings and Bruno Fernandez is something that we're going to talk about in a minute, because I think if you're using 2 transfers, those are the 2 transfers you perhaps want to be using your transfers on. We've also got Tsimikas still being transferred out. I think a lot of people kept Tsimikas in their team rather than transferring him out last week. I know I transferred out Tsimikas last week, but a lot of people still hadn't quite removed him from their team, and now it's blocking moves to get players like Jota. If people want to get Jota, for example, you kind of have to remove Tsimikas if you've already got Trent Alexander-Arnold and Salah in your team. So for that reason, a few people are still lagging behind selling Tsimikas. I imagine for the next couple of weeks there will still be a few people selling Tsimikas, as he's not useful as an FPL asset anymore, so he is a player that we do need to get rid of. We've got Harvey Barnes here. People lost patience with him. I'm not really surprised. He's had a really pretty poor start to the season. People get rid of Mahrez, Wilson as well there with his potential injury problems. Tony, people have given up on him, and then a few other random players at the bottom there you can see as well. So those are going out. So who's coming in to replace these players? Well, Cristiano Ronaldo is the #1 choice as the transfer in. So if the people who are making transfers out of our experts, they are using their transfers to bring in Cristiano Ronaldo. No real surprise there, really, guys. No real surprise. I'm sure a lot of you guys will be looking to do exactly the same. So he's the most popular transfer in of the week by quite some margin. He's pretty clear above everyone else. So in terms of transfer targets, it kind of... it makes so much sense that Ronaldo should be your #1 transfer target for the week, and you know, you've got to try and manage to do that somehow, whether that's using your wild card, taking a -4, hopefully not taking a -8, but if you have to do it, then you have to do it. If you've got free transfers banked, you're going to be in a hugely advantageous position as well, and that's how you're going to get Ronaldo into your team. We've also got Jota in there, who I think is a really interesting option, you know, with Firmino out. Jota looks good. So interestingly, in my buy, sell, keep, avoid video that I did yesterday, my 2 buys were Ronaldo and Jota. So it kind of all kind of adds up in a way. It's that you know, I kind of identified these 2 players as players we'd like to buy, and then the next day I do my research on what the experts are doing, what the pundits are doing, what content creators are all doing, and they kind of agree with me. So we're all on the same page here that Ronaldo and Jota are the players to buy, and you guys might have heard me hype up a little bit, and you will continue to hear me hype up a little bit. Dominic Calvert-Lewin as well, who is been transferred in 17 times. So that's quite a lot as well. And we've got players like Ferran Torres. I think Ferran Torres is particularly popular among people who either don't quite have the budget for Jota or can't get Jota because they still have Tsimikas in their team perhaps. Torres it provides that really nice alternative for you to go for there as well. And we've got Jimenez, which is kind of a little bit of a surprising #5 there. Well, Adama Traore, of course, is next as well. But people are looking to get in on the Wolves attack, which makes sense to me. I mean, look at the fixtures. They are incredible for Wolves for quite some time. So a lot of people do want to get in on the Wolves attack and see if Wolves can finally start scoring a decent amount of goals. And yeah, they definitely shown some promising signs. And it's interesting that, you know, if you look at the general top list of most transferred in players, you're probably not going to see Jimenez and Adama Traore because they've not scored FPL points. And a lot of more casual FPL players, they will just transfer in whoever got the most points last week or over the last couple of game weeks, right? Whereas an expert, a pundit, someone who does their research will look at who's the next player to get the points. And they've looked at Jimenez and Traore, these Wolves attackers, and thought, okay, these are good. There's some really nice opportunities for these guys to get some goals, some assists, stuff like that, you know. And for that reason, definitely, guys, you want to be keeping an eye on some Wolves players, particularly if you guys are on a wild card. I know a few of you guys will be on a wild card watching this video. Maybe consider seeing if you can get a Wolves player into your team, because that might be really quite nice. And then, again, we've got some quite random players in there. But, yeah, I've excluded all the players that have been transferred in only once. So these are the players who have been transferred in on more than one occasion among our 100 experts. And yeah, you can see some pretty interesting, pretty good, pretty solid picks in there. So really, guys, I know a lot of people are after some kind of watch list of players you should be watching, players you should be considering to buy in your team. And I like this list. I like this buy page from this video to use as a, I don't know, I guess a cheat sheet in a way of the players that you should be most closely monitoring in terms of your Game Week 4 transfer. So if you even slightly like a player that you see on this list, maybe that's a good sign that you should go for them. So these are the players you want to be buying for your Game Week 4 team. These are the buys, essentially. This is the big list of buys, right? Okay, I'm actually going to do 2 lots of suggested transfers because I know some of you guys will be open and willing to make 2 transfers, even if it means taking a -4. Some of you guys will probably maybe only want to make 1 transfer this week, so that's absolutely fine. Particularly if you're not on a wild card, you might not be so keen on taking a -4. It's absolutely fine. A lot of people are not taking -4s. A lot of experts are not taking a -4s. So yeah, it's no problem if you don't want to do that. But basically, these are the double transfers that I would really strongly suggest you going for if you have this. You have these kind of players available. So the players we want to be transferring out in a double transfer, and this is exactly what I will be doing if everything goes to plan. This is exactly what I'll be doing. Is I'll be transferring out Ings and Fernandez. And out of our 100 experts, these are by far the 2 most popular transfers out, and they are often transferred out as a combo because when you transfer out Ings and Fernandez, you can get in Ronaldo and a midfielder of your choice. Now, the most popular, the best one to go for is Jota. So if you can do Ings and Fernandez out, Ronaldo and Jota in, fantastic, perfect, love it. If you can't do that, if you can't quite afford it, if you want to save a little bit of budget maybe, or if you have Simicast in your team blocking you from a move to Jota, then we do have the alternative of Ronaldo and Torres. So that would probably be the second best option for transfers that you could possibly make this week, I would probably say. And then finally, if you don't really like the look of Jota or Torres, maybe you don't like the fact that there's slightly rotation risk, maybe you want to get someone a little bit cheaper, there are some other options here as well. So you can do Ings and Fernandez out, and you can go for Ronaldo. Of course, Ronaldo is the big one, and then we'll combine Ronaldo with an Adama Traore or a Sarr or a Demarai Gray. We can go for one of those who are much cheaper options, and then we can bank the cash and maybe think about using that cash in future game weeks as well. Maybe something like that might be pretty nice. I would probably throw in Rafinha as maybe a player you should consider bringing in as well. I know he's got Liverpool this week, but his fixtures after that are phenomenal. So yeah, I would possibly throw him in the mix as well. But if you don't want to use 2 transfers, maybe just use 1. And your 1 transfer should still be Ings out. Ings is still the most popular transfer out by some margin. A lot of people are getting rid of him. But there are some options of who we can bring in to replace Ings. So DCL, providing he's fit, he's going to be an incredible FPL option for quite some time. So definitely DCL is probably target number 1 for those of you guys who are just doing 1 transfer. You're not interested in Ronaldo straight away. Maybe you for whatever reason, you just want to give him 1 week. You want to make sure you don't think he's going to start this week. That's absolutely fine. You just want to go for 1 transfer. Ings to DCL is such an obvious transfer as a standalone transfer, if you like. Obviously, Jimenez provides a little bit of an alternative there as well, if you fancy that. Or if you still have Harvey Barnes in your team and you're sick and tired of him and you just want to get rid of him, that's absolutely fine. There are a few options there, so you can go for Jota, Torres, Adama Traore, Sarr, Gray, and again, I'd perhaps throw in Rafinha to the mix there, but I can't put him on screen because that would be cheating, because he was only transferred in by 1 expert, I think, so, and we only look at 2 or more transfers in for our data, don't we? But yeah, Barnes to Jota, Torres, Traore, Sarr, Gray, looks like a pretty nice transfer as well as a standalone type transfer. And finally, we will look at the captain picks for the game week. Hopefully this is going to be useful in helping you make your decision. Now, this week, there's not many. And in game week 3, we saw quite a bit of a variety. I think there was sort of 9 or 10 different captains being used out of our 100 experts. We saw a variety. But this week, we are dominated by Ronaldo. There's always one dominant, well, there's usually one dominant captain for a game week. And Ronaldo is not really surprising that he is the one. A lot of people are ripping up their teams to get him in. A lot of people are taking -4s to get him in. A lot of people are wildcarding to get him in. And therefore, if we're doing all that, we're doing it because we're really passionate about this player. And if we're really passionate about this player, we're probably also going to captain him. Against Newcastle, it looks very nice indeed. So, yeah, completely back that one. That's probably the one I'm going to go for myself. Ronaldo captain looks really sensible. But don't forget, guys, if you feel like you can't or you don't want to get Ronaldo this week, Salah is still a really good captain option. And in some rare cases, people our experts have been transferring in Ronaldo and still opting to captain Salah. It's more frequent that they'll transfer in Ronaldo and captain him straight away. But there are a few people who, even though they are transferring in Ronaldo, they still do prefer Salah as a captain. So I just want to make sure, guys, that if you feel like you're not going to get Ronaldo this week, don't worry too much. Salah is still a really good option. There are some other kind of slightly differential options in here. So Fernandez and Lukaku are pretty good options. I do quite like Lukaku. If you do have Lukaku in your team, then he actually could be really nice. Obviously, Aston Villa are going to be without Emi Martinez this game week, so that could actually be pretty nice for you guys. To try and capitalise on that. Bruno Fernandez as well. If Ronaldo doesn't start, Bruno Fernandez will be a really good pick. For those of you keeping Bruno Fernandez and not going for Ronaldo, there is that option there for you. Antonio is kind of there, 3%, 3 out of 100 going for Antonio captain. It's an option. And one person is going for the big risky differential of Aubameyang against Norwich. Could be kind of interesting. Not my cup of tea exactly, but, maybe some of you guys like a risk and you want to do something like that. Fair play. Fortune favours the bold at the end of the day. So, I'm not going to knock it, and we'll see if it comes off or not, basically. And there we have it, guys. That is all of the data I've gathered for you this game week. Hopefully, this has been really useful to you guys. Maybe eye-opening for you as well. It's certainly giving me a bit of insight into how the most engaged, most the best FPL managers, how are they thinking this game week? And yeah, I'm sure we've got some very good ideas and pretty specific ideas, particularly in terms of using the combination of Danny Ings and Bruno Fernandez to go for Ronaldo and another midfielder. It's so many of our experts are doing that exact move that kind of makes sense that that's just the right move to make. So hopefully you guys will be able to make that move and you'll be able to benefit from making that move as well. But there we go. Like the video, please like the video if you enjoy this type of stuff. It does take a long time to gather all of the data and turn it into something useful. So likes are massively appreciated. Of course, subscribe if you want this every single week, and I will give it to you. Of course, I will give it to you. But aside from that, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. See you later, mates. Bye bye.